going to do some crafting in the vintage French journals today. So yeah, I've got them on the table and we're going to get started straight away. So there's 3 of them. The signatures are sewn in. Today I'm going to worry about putting the lace on the insides, and then I will put in some ephemera that we've already made. We'll take a look and see if we can make some more ephemera today. I don't know how much I have, but I have a bucket with it in there. So let's start with the lace and see how far we get. I want to do some lace on here, I think, possibly. I usually do lace in the center spread. Hello, thanks for joining. I know it is a weird one today, just bear with me. So we're going to start straight away by putting the lace on the page edges. Then I will flip through the ephemera that I have made. We'll place some in here. And then see what else we need to make, and we'll see about making some of that. So thanks so much for hanging out with me on Sunday night for a little bit while we try to finish up these journals. We have one or two more classes after this to get these guys finished up. So I like to place the lace in 3 places on each part of the signature. I want to put 3 different kinds of lace in the front part of the signature and 3 different laces in the back part of the signature as well. So I've chosen these ones. I've chosen the gold, which you can see here on the desk. And then I've chosen some off-white kind of lace, and also some bright white. And I'm trying to mix in these 3 colors because I think that this brings out that true antique look that I'm going for with this guy. So this one is all antique pages. There's no digital in here. Basically, there's some coffee dye and a couple book page, but it's really just antique documents and antique original ephemera. And I brought in, the only color was this robin's egg blue color that you see in a couple places. So I do want to keep the laces with that theme, super antique looking. So either we put the laces in the center spread here. The center spread for me is vellum. Usually lace has a hard time gluing to vellum, number 1. And number 2, if you glue lace to vellum, you usually can see the glue on the backside. So I think we're not going to glue the lace directly to this vellum. I think we're going to go 1 page in and put the lace there. And the white lace is my widest lace. It is the lace that is the widest, you know, from point to the top up here. And so that's the one I'm going to put in the center. I always put the widest one in the center and scoot it out quite a bit, you know, whatever, if you want to see it come out the front edge or not. So we're going to put that one in here. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side where we put that same white lace in there. And then when we close our journal, we're going to have 3 laces sticking out at different lengths, and that's going to look the best, I think. So let's go ahead and get started putting these in. If we put the white one there, we'll have it poking out. Can only focus on one side at a time. So if we have the white one there poking out, do we want the white one or the gold one? Let's look. I think we're going to want it like this, where we do white and gold, and it's not going to go there, but just bear with me. White and gold, and then maybe the ecru color, beigey color one. I just want to see peaks of it, you know, popping out. I think that will look nice coming out the front edge. So let's try to do something like that. I know it's weird. It's a weird video. Just bear with me. There's a reason, but just bear with me. Okay, let's get this first lace in here. So again, not going to glue it to the vellum because you'll see the glue. It'll be hard to stick. It's just not the best option. And we have this coffee dye paper right here where we can put it on. It's going to stick much better. So let's go ahead and get that going. Hello. Thank you for joining. We're going to get this video started right straight away today. So when putting lace on your page edges, If you buy from me, you always get stuff in plastic baggies. I like to save the plastic baggies when I buy stuff. It doesn't matter, where I get them from. But the plastic baggies, if you put them between the pages like I just did, it's going to protect the other pages in your signature. And that way, if you are messy or get a little glue somewhere where you didn't mean to, it's not going to glue all your pages together. It's not going to make a bigger mess, right? So I'm going to put this lace pretty close to the corner, the edge here. There we go. And the white one is pretty wide, so we have some space. Sorry for my reaching. We have some space there. I don't have space on my desk, but we have space on the page. So then I just kind of drag that lace up on there, trying to position it where I want it. Kind of put it there. We can adjust after we tack it down a little. I did bring in a silicone spatula if we get too crazy with anything. For right now, I'm just looking to straighten this out. Luckily, this one, it has a pattern where you can line it up and get it pretty straight. So that's how that one looks right there. That's okay. It's all right. We could have done it the other way where, we glued it on that side. I think I'm good with it right here. I like that. So let's stick with that one. Now, if we close our book up, it sticks out pretty far. We might want to pull that in just a little bit. You might want to scooch it in just a little bit. And you can line it up. If you flip over the page, you'll be able to see the little peaks right here and line those up. So I can see where this one's got to go in. So I'm just going to scoot it in a little bit. I don't want it quite peeking out that far. And now you can see we're getting closer to having just the little tiny hill part of the peak. There we go. There we go. Better, better. Okay, so now let's straighten it out again, add a little bit more glue if we need to, and then we're going to move on to doing the other one. Hopefully you guys are having a good Sunday, good finish to your weekend. Getting a little crafty time in. It's always good. All right, let's see where we're at. We're looking pretty good. We need to come in this way just a little bit more. There we go. Is your weather nice where you guys all are? Our weather has been beautiful again, like it's supposed to be this time of year. Okay, we still cannot get this side to go in, so we're just going to pull it and put it back on. Struggling right off the bat, always fun. Hey, but this lace will really be glued on. It can't ever be easy, right, when the camera goes on, right? All right, now let's see where we're at. I want the little peaks right on the edge. Perfect. Finally. Finally, it's being good. There we go. All right, so that one is on. I will trim off any excess that needs to be trimmed off. Usually with these laces, you can just kind of tug on them and they'll self-straighten. So that's good. Like that. And now it peeks out the right amount, right? It's just a little fringe out the edge. That's good. Okay. Let's move on to the next one. Leave that plastic baggie in there. Go to the other side. Slip in another plastic bag. There we go. Now we're going to add that lace to the opposite part of the signature. So I'd use the same lace on both halves of the signature. So one piece in the front part and one piece in the back part. Okay. And here's another white one. Yes, definitely with the cats. It's like that with anything, really. The camera goes on and then There we go. Better? Just keeping it straight. Sometimes when the lace has been on the spool a long time, it gets a little bit curly too. Okay, so that's good. We've got the white ones in. Now let's see about putting in the gold one. So there's where our white one is. We want that gold one to be a little more in the middle of the signature. And in the middle, we could put the gold right here. There's already some gold Florentine paper. I think the gold would look pretty there. And so if we do the gold one, it would stick out like this. We'll glue it to this back side of the paper, sticking out like that. But for now, we're just going to lay it in there and see, okay, if we put that there, where are we going to put this little ecru one? I don't want to put it on the edge of this blue paper because I want to see the blue peeking through. I don't like to put lace where there's a paper doily because it's like rubbing on it. It's not impossible to use it there, but I think that the doily really is best on the paper because it's just a paper doily and anything could happen to it, right? So we're going to see if we can find another place. There really isn't too many other options. We could go on the edge of that one. The edge of that one isn't horrible. All right, so let's go ahead and get the gold on. I'm happy with the gold placement. The gold's going to go on the marble paper, the Florentine paper. So whatever you used, if you used Florentine paper, that's where I'm putting the gold one. And back here, we're going to have the same thing where we have Florentine paper at some point. If I can find it right here. So just making sure that it's not going to impact anything front or back. And then I'm going to slip one of these plastic bags out and put it in right here. And we'll use that. And I just want to check this one and make sure that we're all good. Yes, we are. We're good there. Okay. So let's start with the back part. And I'm using the Fabri-Tac glue because we're using fabric or lace. So anytime fabric or lace goes on paper, use the Fabri-Tac. Now the gold lace is pretty net, see-through sheer lace. So we want to smooth out that glue as much as we can. There we go. And I always cut the lace long and then trim it off to size later. So we're just going to put that right on there. Can try to get it so we don't waste quite as much. I don't know whether we're out too far, out not enough. Let's see where we're going to be here. To close up our book. I think we're going to want to go out just a little bit more. So I've got a rose here I can get right on the edge of my paper. There we go. Straighten it out. You could use your spatula if you wanted, but whatever, it's on there. Okay, and then you could put another plastic bag if you were worried about it seeping through. I'm just going to bump this one up there. We don't really need it on the back side so much. Then let's go over here to this part of the Florentine paper. We'll move our next bag, which is this guy. Put it in between. And get this lace on. You're all caught up. I'm glad that we had a little bit of a break so that a lot of people could catch up. Sometimes when I do the classes back to back to back, life gets in the way, you know, we're all busy. And it can be hard for people to stay caught up because there's a new class every week. And let's see, I'm going to do it this way. There's a new class every week. And if you miss, you know, if you don't have time one week, you get behind really quickly. So I'm happy that we had a little bit of a break. I'm not happy for why we had a little bit of a break, but I am happy that we had a little bit of a break. Let's get that in there. Okay. And if you have lace like this, where you're going to bring it in a little bit, you could leave, you know, more of a little pocket right here, and it would work as a little tuck too. I'm not really concerned with the little tuck, but you know, it's an idea. If you're using a much wider lace, even one like this, if you were able to sew it on the edge of the page or glue it very close to that edge, you would have a little tuck right there. I didn't do it, but we're good there. Okay. So now we have this look in the front. The gold's peeking out, the white's peeking out. We just need to add the last little bit, and that would be the ecru one. And my options again for adding the ecru lace are right here behind the paper doily, which is tricky. And then maybe right here on this little handwritten one. I hate to put it on original documents because you do lose that. This isn't inked. This is just natural, beautiful aging to that paper. So I hate to put it on that one. You could see how it would look on the music. I say we do it on the music paper. So let's do it right there. I don't know what's on the other side where the music is. I do like the hand-torn edge, though. Nah. We're going to do it on the music. So, same thing. Fabri-Tac. So how many of you have jumped ahead of me? And you already have your ephemera in, and basically, how many of you are done? How many of you have ephemera in? Like what stage are you guys at with your journals? What stage are you at? I bring a spatula in, but honestly, I just like using my hand. I think it works really well, obviously, right? It's the best tool. Okay. So from here, I am going to snip off some excess. I'm not worried about snipping it straight exactly to the edge of the page. I can go over a little bit if I want to. I'm fine with that. So there's that one. Let's snip off this one. Making ephemera. Yeah. I have a lot of ephemera made. We made a bunch together, and also I've made some that has just been in my finished ephemera box. So I have a lot. I know that we will need some more, so we'll definitely make some ephemera before we call this guy done. I know that I need to decorate the front cover. So we still get the look of the white lace with the vellum, but it doesn't get all goopy where you see the glue on the backside. And it doesn't fall off because it's vellum. Vellum is it's like plastic paper, and it generally doesn't hold glue very well. So there's those three in the front, much better there. Good. And then from the back side. So now we have lace on our page edges. We're ready to move forward. Here we go. We're good with those. And all of these little pieces of lace that I cut off, those could be little snippets or sewn into a scrappy, a snippet roll. Yeah. Okay, so we have lace poking out the edge now. It does not go the full length of the cover because our signature is not the full length of the cover, but it's not going to matter once this front cover is decorated. In truth, I could have had that gold peek out just a little bit more, but it is what it is. Now it will round out once we put ephemera in there too. It's going to round out quite a bit. So for closure for this one, we're going to use the eyelets and the seam binding or sari silk or whatever you have. Let's go ahead and move on to decorating this front cover, I think. I need to find, we're either going to make ephemera or decorate this front cover. I don't know. Let's see what we have for ephemera. But for front cover, I need to find a French postcard that I want to put on there. Then this lace will go on. We'll layer up some other laces under there, but I'm not quite certain on that step yet. So let's look at ephemera for a moment, because we have 3 journals. So bear with me for just one moment. Let me set that one over there. And let's look at what we have for ephemera. So we made, now these need flattened, but we made 3 tags. We have 1 for each journal, right? Let me bring the lighting down just a little bit. It's super glary. There we go. So we made 3 tags. Those are great. Those can go right in the journal. So we have 1 for each of the journals. I'm just going to make 3 piles for 3 journals. Then what else did we make? We made 3 of the lady tags. So those were made from masterboards, and we just put the vintage French fashion ladies on there. Then we made 3 of the botanical tags, and those are here. So we have some tags, but what we really need to focus on are pockets. And for pockets, I have 1 of those for each of the journals. So my 3 piles are pretty good, right? We got some stuff in there. Now we also have 3 of the corner pockets. 3 corner pockets. Those are those. They look like that. Okay, so that's that pile. We also made 3 of these little corner pockets. Those are beautiful. I know you guys cannot really see. I keep trying to move it, but it's fighting me. So 3 little botanical corner pockets. I don't know if you guys can see the piles. Hopefully you can. So I made 3 of those. Okay, so what else do we have? We have a lot of masterboard scraps that need to be made into pockets and decorated. And then I have a ton of ephemera from my finished ephemera box. And I know that I want to be putting these bookmarks in here with the laminated French lavender in there. 1 of those for each one. I also have these pockets. These are lace sewn onto rag paper book page, and there's 1 of those for each one. So that's a really big pocket. These are texture, they're they're master boards that I made, and they have embossed paper, little scraps. It kind of looks like texture paste, but it's really just embossed paper. Those are there. We have several more of those as well. These were made a long time ago. These are big French scrappy topped fabric tags from Tim Holtz cardstock. There's some of those for each journal. There's even some extras for things here, there, and everywhere. So we're doing good there. Let's see what else we have for pockets in here. I have quite a few little offcuts and things like that that can be made into pockets. Let's see what else is finished. Oh, I have a ton of bases for pockets. Okay, good. Well, we can decorate some stuff for sure and get that going. I have this lace. This lace would look good on the front cover too, because we brought in that other ecru one. It's beaded and beautiful. We have that we could use as well. So there's some of that. If you guys have been following along in the 365 videos, that is where you have seen me make many of the things that I just pulled out of this finished ephemera box. Like there's a little snippet. Here's another little snippet. Here's another snippet. I have a different one. I don't know. There's snippets in here apparently. Then I have some clusters if we choose to decorate with some clusters. Like this one definitely fits. We can decorate with some clusters. This one, I don't know if I love it, but that one works better. Let's see what other clusters are in here. That one's okay. This one's okay, but it has a little bit of a rose in it. So I have some other cluster options there. This one's a little purple. We have other clusters. I've got other tag bases and masterboard bases. Just digging through this ephemera box. I know there's a bunch of like bluish themed things in here because we did some blue French journals in the past and we didn't use everything. This is a beautiful little scrappy notepad and I would like to find a home for it in one of the journals. Yeah, I don't know exactly which one, but I would like to find a pocket or a place for that. Then there is a little French folio here. We could use that. So those are things we could use, but don't have to use for sure. I found a couple more little clusters. These things could be sewn or glued to the edges of pages. They're paper ruffles. We could do some of that for decorating. There's a ton of things for decorating in here. So, okay, fine. We're good. I've got labels. I've got CD pockets. I've got a library card pocket that's all decorated up. Here's another little card. Here's a CD envelope that got decorated and never used. I do have some of these botanical tags that we could use. Excuse me. I also have lavender shaker cards with the lavender. You can still smell that lavender through the lace. These are 3 little pockets or 2 little pockets. I don't know if we have a third. There's 2 there. This is a super big journal card. Here's a cute little journal card. So yes, we have some things. We surely have some things. Okay. Excuse me. Goodness, sorry. All right, so that's kind of like a quick little look at what's in the ephemera piles. Let me set all of that back here in the back. And then we don't have very many pockets. That's what I was noticing. Is yes, there are some pockets, but there's not a ton of pockets in these piles. We have a lot of stuff. It's a great start, but we need to make pockets today. So let's look and see what I have to make some different kind of pockets. Like in these ephemera boxes, I'm going to put like pile number 1, pile number 2, and pile number 3. In this ephemera box, there is a lot of, I don't want to call them scraps, but they're undecorated bases where they're already on cardstock. And I know there's some blue ones in here somewhere. There's a bunch of blue ones right here. And so any of these could be just decorated and put a thumb hole into, and we could use those. Like here's 3 that I like really well for this journal, and even 3 little journal cards. So we could decorate those. I don't know what else is in here. There is a ton of stuff. Like here's some for tags. So we have plenty. We have some with Florentine paper, as you can see. Like there's a lot of bases in here. All of this is bases that are ready to go for pockets or journal cards, or cut them into tag shape. It doesn't really matter. And then back here, there was also some other bases. There's some texture paste on some paper if we want to use some of that. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's quite beautiful. Then there's some miscellaneous other ephemera that we didn't pull and we didn't use yet, but we could if we needed to. Okay, moving on. Here's the rest of our bases. Let's look at those. And then I have these. In one of the videos, we did some stenciling on, we'd made some very quick little tags, covered them with rag paper, and we did some stenciling on them. Those could certainly be decorated up too if you guys made that project with me in the 365 videos. So we have a lot of started ephemera in here. And so it's a cute little box full of stuff. All right, that leaves us with these. In my little junk pile over here, I can see that I have some cabinet cards. I call it my junk pile, but whatever. I have all kinds of things over there for us to play with. Let me grab these glue sticks out of here because we're going to use those. And we're going to make some ephemera. So here's 3 lady photos. We could put those on these bases. I know that I need more French fashion ladies for sure because one is never enough. So we can do that as well. Let's start working with these 3 ladies, and we're not going to make pockets with them, but we could surely make some journal cards. So let's go ahead and start there. If you have any type of digital, this is a digital in my Etsy shop, but if you have any type of digital of your little CDV cards, or if you've purchased old ones, you can scan them quick. And then just cut them out for focal points. These are all made from master boards. So anytime we have master boards, I like to cut them up into basically a 3x5 or 3.5x5 size. And that will give us a pocket and or a journal card, right? So I'm going to trim out these little lady photos and we're going to put those on there for some little journal cards. Now you could use these as tuck pockets too, since we are mostly in need of tuck pockets. If you put, you know, a focal point on, just like that, you could layer lace or whatever behind it. I'm going to ink it obviously and trim it out a little bit neater, but that could go on the page of a journal, and you could just tuck something back behind it. So I'm going to make them as journal cards or tuck pockets with these 3 photos. So I had them in my scrap bin. This is all just leftover stuff sitting on my desk. It's always great to have more than you need printed. That way you always have things just at your fingertips to grab. So that's going to go on that one. That's great. And then I've got 2 more here. Now I don't want this red border around this one, so I'm going to trim this one, getting rid of most of that red border. Like I said, the only color I did for this journal is that robin's egg blue. And I know many of you guys have robin's egg blue paper on the way, or it will be on the way next week. We'll be shipping you all next week. You'll get tracking numbers Wednesday or Thursday because this was a very heavy ship week. More items than usual have been purchased. I like her on that one. Let's do that. And then this one has a robin's egg blue border, so we're going to go with it. I hope you guys got to do something fun this weekend. I'm excited for these journals to be finished, and I hope that you guys will consider posting your journals, whatever state they're in, whether they're finished or, you know, you have to do whatever, sew your signature in whatever. I hope you guys will consider posting a picture of your journals in the Facebook group so that we all can see how it's going or whatever you're making for yours. So this one doesn't have a lot of brown in it. I think we're going to do that with that one. Okay, so let's pile those back over there. These will be turned into some pockets here in just a second. Let's do trash and scraps over there. Let's get these glued down and inked. And if we want something in the back of them, now's the time to do that. Yeah, I am excited for once in my life. So before I did, let me just tell you, before I did YouTube videos, I have a really beautiful craft room across the hall, right? I spent so much time thinking about storage and what furniture pieces to buy and, you know, how to make the best use of the space that I had over there. And for those of you that don't know, my craft room is actually the room across the hall from me. The room I'm in right now is not my craft room. It's my filming room. And I have no supplies in here whatsoever. I basically craft with 1% of my supplies or less because I can't get to them. They're all the way on the other side. And, you know, that room is set up where you could craft at the desk, and it's not really, you know, I have to like dig in a drawer to find something and then bring it in here. And so it's not really conducive to this kind of crafting and filming because I don't get to use any of my things. My things are sitting over there. And a lot of them went bad because they sat over there and nobody ever got to use them. So when I move, I would not have a craft room again, but eventually I hope to have a craft room where I have all of my things and I can actually go back to crafting the way that I want to. Right now I craft like I'm camping, where I only have X amount of supplies and I have to make the best that make the best, right? Make the best out of only having like a suitcase or a bucket worth of supplies, right? And that's sad because you know me, I have a lot, right? And I want to use my things, but I can't because they're across the way. So I really am looking forward to the day where I get to have all my things back out and craft with them, and don't feel like I'm, you know, crafting out of a rolling suitcase or a rolling bag, because that's basically what I do is I craft out of a rolling bag or a little tub or whatever. Because I can't have all my things. So eventually I will have all my things and life will be a little bit better for me that way. We have a little loose piece of paper right here and we need to glue that down. But at the new house in initially, I will not have a craft room again, but eventually I will have a really nice craft room, hopefully. So I'll just be patient and wait for the day. And I know many of you, you know, you don't have a whole room that you can dedicate to being a craft room. Maybe there are kids' bedrooms or grandkids' bedrooms or whatever, you know. Maybe you are in a smaller apartment and you don't have a room that you can dedicate just as a craft room. And so I definitely feel your pain. I definitely, you know, it's like the days where you're crafting at your dining table again. That's basically what I'm doing here. So I think I'm just going to glue these on. I don't want to put lace behind them in case I do end up having to use them as pocket or as journal cards in pockets. So I am simply going to glue them. I'm not going to worry about, you know, layering at this point. I will layer a little label on them over the edge of the photo, and that's all I'm going to concern myself with. Looking for something to glue on. So those were super simple. Why were they super simple? Because we already had the masterboard bases done. So you literally could just cut out or use a piece of Tim Holtz ephemera and have these done. So this is a brand new Uku glue stick, and it is super gluey. And so all I care about here is being straight. Pretty good. It's got glue underneath of it, and I don't really want to smear it. I've got ink on my fingers and all that, so we're going to do it like that. And there we go. That one is good to go. Now it'll get inked around the card, but there is a touch of blue in her photo and a touch of blue in the corner there. All old paper though, so that's really nice. It'll look beautiful when we're done. They might be tuck pockets. I don't know. Tuck pockets or journal cards. So I want to make other things out of actual antique ephemera, and I'm going to get some invoices. So if you guys have invoices that you are ready to craft with the originals, that's what you want to grab next. French invoices, American invoices, doesn't really matter, but grab some invoices because that's what we're going to craft with next. French invoices are lovely, but you know, they also are costly. So if you want to scan them quick and use a copy of a French invoice, you could do that. I really like how this one has this extra little strip of, you know, kind of rough paper over there. That looks good. Okay, so there's 2 down, 1 more to go. Yep, lots of people, you know, we're very blessed if we actually have a craft room at all. And I am very blessed. Unfortunately, mine got railroaded, but you know, we'll be patient. We'll get a nice craft room eventually. But lots of people, you know, me included, nobody starts out with everything. They don't. You don't start out with everything. You start out with whatever you can find and you go from there. And so a lot of people are crafting on their bed or their floor or, you know, their kitchen counter where they make food. Like, it doesn't matter. You're just crafting where you can. And it's all good. It doesn't impact the crafting wherever you craft, right? Like, we can still make beautiful things. So there's the 3 of them. I know they are very hard to see. I will ink around them, but I don't feel like we need to ink them like this very second. You're going to see. It just frames them a little bit, but it doesn't change too much of anything. So I'm not going to ink the other 2. I don't want to take up our time just with inking today. So there's those done. We can use them for journal cards. They have coffee dyed paper on the back. We can ink the back too, but those 3 are good. You set those in the 3 piles, and I'm just going to put them randomly, and we'll figure out who gets what if we need to make a change later. Okay, so going back to the masterboard pieces, I can see that we have some nice pockets. Some nice pockets. These ones all have a different color of blue. These ones have the blue that we are using in the current journal. So let's make 3 pockets out of these kinds of things. And then when I'm done decorating this, we're going to make something out of invoices. So grab invoices if you have them. So we just need to pick 3 that are going to make great pockets. I know that these 2 make great pockets. The rest, I guess we can use those ones. Those are the most plain ones, right? They're the least busy. So let's make pockets out of those. Now, I do need to grab the pocket punch because I didn't bring it in here. Okay. So at least we're going to be able to see the pocket shape. That one was a little deep. Do you guys save these to make flowers with? Do you guys save your little petals and then align them? Like, you know, some people save every little bit of everything and they'll line them up and they'll make a little flower eventually out of all of these little half circle, whatever kind of things, like petals of a flower. And they'll be all different kinds, like a masterboard, little tiny scraps. So if you keep going around with them, eventually you'll have a flower. It's just one way of making a flower and recycling every little bit of this craft. I don't do it because it's too time consuming to me. But whatever, you know, other people do. Now I've got these little corners where I went a little deep with the punch. Normally you can just knock them back with your finger, or you can repunch. This one's going to need trim just because it's super deep, but that's okay. That's all right. We're going to live with it. Okay, great. Let's get these inked, and then I can see the pocket shape, and then we can put a focal point on them. Now for these three, we need to put a different kind of focal point on. We've been kind of like making quick ephemera. I honestly don't know. You know, I could put a flower, botanical, something on here, but I kind of want something different. And I'm wondering if we look in the French fashion magazines, if I can find some linear, you know, landscape wide, whatever you want to call it, decoration to put onto these. So let's look at French fashion magazines. I know that I want to bring more of that in here. So let's look at that. I ink everything. I always get asked with the Distress Oxide because it is not as dirty looking. It's not as dirty looking as the regular vintage photo. I love vintage photo. I love all Tim Holtz things. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, as far as making things look like old paper, the oxide is really what old paper looks like. I think I have enough experience with old paper that the oxide is that perfect aged look. And the vintage photo is just a little bit too dark, in my opinion, for making things look old. Now, I did choose to bring that color in a little bit more on this one because it's a little plain of a pocket. Okay, let's look and see what we have in French fashion magazines quick. I actually have a pile, I have a pile of things right here at my desk that we were supposed to make ephemera out of. So I'm going to grab this giant pile. I'm going to put these back in the unfinished ephemera. Let's look at this pile quick and let's see if we can find something to put on here and something to decorate our next part with. This was another piece of Florentine paper that we sold even recently. And I wanted to point out that this is kind of that robin's egg blue color, that this would look lovely with your journal if you have it. That one happens to be sitting there. And we have some of these magazines that were kind of scrappy. So I could look in there and I could pull out some French embroidery things if I wanted to. We have some book page. This obviously doesn't go. We've got documents in here. I have a glue paper that I was looking for a moment ago. I knew it was in here somewhere. We have some digitals that are from various designers, and we could use any of those. Some scraps of paper. These, if we wanted to make another masterboard, something like that, that would be good. Paper for putting in a masterboard. These are Raindrop Lila. I thought maybe we might decorate a large pocket or tag or something. I don't think I will end up using them. These ones I will use eventually. These we were going to make into pockets, so those can stay. And these are the botanicals. There's several botanical sets here. Botanical. There's some little scrap. There's some black and white pictures. None of that. This is Tim Holtz French cardstock, and I wanted to point out that that's also the perfect colors for this journal. We'll use that for a project. There's more pockets, and here's what I'm looking for. This is French fashion magazines. I want to find something that is linear, not linear, wide, so that I can put it in on the pockets. Now, these kids are super cute, but the kids are not going to fit on a pocket, right? So I'm looking for something that's cute. Even like the little dress down here, that could go on there. That's not horrible, but I'm going to keep looking and see if we can find something better. Like here's a little bust of a woman. Again, it's not going to fit on there. We need the perfect size thing. So let's keep looking. And I've got several because these ones were damaged. You can tell, you know, this one's got a big spot on it and whatever. So I get to use the damaged ones. Basically, all I'm seeing is like an article of clothing at this point. And there's a big bunch of people here, but they're all too big for the pockets. So there's that one. Let's look in this one. These heads almost would fit. Not quite. Those little ladies down there, you could get most of those ladies on this pocket. The little ones here. I'm wondering about a piece of black and white lace. We've got ads. I've got all kinds of French fashion magazines. You guys are seeing each and every one of them. Oh my gosh. So funny. And they all have a wide spread in them, which is interesting because they're all just random magazines. Okay, so that one's a dud also. Let's see what else we find. I'm not even opposed to cutting out like just this French ad right here with the dress forms and sticking that on there. That could work in a pinch. Let's see what else. Got one more to find something in. And I've got little people here. You know, those, we could put those on there. It's not perfect, but we could put them on there. Normally I find like a nice piece of lace. They all have these spreads in them, which is terrible because they all don't, but whatever. Okay, so I didn't find the perfect thing in there. I did not find the perfect thing in there. I'm going to put those back over to the side. The one that I liked the best was this guy. And it was because it had some little pictures of hats and whatever. Could almost put a piece of lace on there. Nope, not going to work. I mean, we could do the little dress. But the little dress would have to have something else with it. So let's wait on that. Let's skip that. We have little botanicals, but we already did that on a pocket. What else is in here? Not really anything. Some things to layer and some ledger paper. All right, so I didn't find any focal points. Are you excited? Because I need to find some focal points. I could put little pictures on them, but I don't really want to do that. I know, I don't want to. That's all you're hearing. Because we have these little photos. We could take some vintage tape and like put one of these photos on here. It's okay. It's not great. Like a photo in a cluster. What if we get out the clusters and see if we can make one? I think these photos are also too linear because they're going to be really one-sided. So no on the photos. If you can't tell, today is a low creativity day today. All right. So no to all of that, which means I'm going to go to plan B. And I'm going to pull back over here this little ephemera box. And in this ephemera box, there is this texture paste paper. And I'm curious if we take some of this texture paste paper and just layer it on there, if I will be happy with that. Let's see. Like even this little darker colored one, if I just kind of layer some of that on and then a little cluster. You guys think that's good? We won't know till we try. So like there's some across the bottom and then maybe a little lace cluster. This is just rag paper book page with a Tim Holtz stencil with texture paste through it. That's all that is. I don't want to go that way with that one. It's just one more layer. Just one more layer. Okay, so we have some layer. We'll save that for a little cluster. Everything else can go in the garbage. And now we need to build some clusters, but we need to add some robin's egg blue to these because there isn't really very much robin's egg blue. I do have those little clusters that were made from lace, but we also just cut up some lace. Here's some lace little snippets. So you can do paper clusters or you could do lacy little clusters. I'm wondering about lace. I've got just scraps of lace. It's all very beigey and neutral. Kate, look at Tim Holtz. What will you do with all your craft supplies? I liked the ads. I love the swans. The swans, yeah. There were some swans. Kate, look at Tim Holtz. I don't know what I'm supposed to look at Tim Holtz for, but I don't know. I think we need to add something with a little bit more definition and color to these because they're very beigey and neutral. They need a definite focal point, something with a little more color. We could always add gold or whatever lace at the bottom, but I want something else. So this is real life crafting, and sometimes this is the way it goes. There is that tape, but I don't think I want that color blue just yet. So we have scraps of robin's egg blue documents, and I'm thinking maybe I would be happy if I just get a little more of the blue in here. Like a little more of the blue in here. It's just, it needs a focal point. Have to have like a flower or some kind of a scrap cluster. So these are nice. It's a great start, but we do need a focal point. I need something with more definition. Let me see what I can find that has more definition. I wish I had a piece of Braille paper right now. Yeah, I wish I had a piece of Braille paper. There are some little botanicals that are Tim Holtz, but I need a very, very specific color, right? Like I need something that is more organic than these. He does have some of my favorite blue ones, but I always use those first. Let me see if I can find one. Like he has some nice blues, but I think I need something a little more organic. I know. They're beautiful, but I'm being super picky. Like, I'm being super picky. Because any of these would be wonderful. I don't know if I can find another blue one, but blue-ish. I always use the blues first. It's hard to find good blue flowers. It really is. I see some, but I cannot pick them out of here. No, I don't have any more blues. This one is my favorite one out of all of these. This is what it looks like so far. It just missing a little something. Maybe just a postage stamp right here and I would be happy with that one. I like the randomness of that one. This one, it's just a little off-centered. Because the stems are just going to be like floating until I put a label or something on it. Maybe if I ink it, I'll be happier. Maybe. They're okay. Maybe. We'll see. Let's see what else there is in my bucket of whatever's sitting next to my desk. I really want to use old ephemera. So here's the thing. Let's leave these sit for a minute. Let me grab those French invoices. The stenciled rag paper, it is so much fun. Stencil it with ink, stencil it with texture paste, stencil it with everything. So we need some ephemera. I need a pile of blue ephemera and invoices. Give me 1 second and I'll go grab it. Okay, so I brought in the invoices and we're going to use those to make a different kind of a pocket here in a minute. Let's just find some invoices that have some nice graphics, or even a check with some nice graphics will work. Again, I keep trying to layer and get some kind of focal point on here. I don't know if it's going to be from collaging or what it's going to be yet, but we're going to find it. That's a nice one. It's got some nice graphics. That would be good for our next project. So fringe invoices are what is in this pile. And there's a bunch of these kind here. And I know these ones have strong graphics on them. So we can unpin those and use some of those. There's another one that's got nice graphics. Okay. Well, I need focal points really badly for this journal. It's hard because I want to use all old stuff. These invoices are all backwards and upside down. So let's try to flip those. So any type of invoice with some nice strong typography and graphics is what I want for the next project. And if I can find one that's a little bit blue, all the better. That's a really nice one. Okay. I got a lot of graphics there. See, this one has a nice focal point. What is that one? Okay. Focal points will have to wait for those. I kind of think I just want a cluster on them, but I'm not really sure. So let's give it a minute. And I can't find any braille paper to make a cluster with. Okay, moving on to invoice pocket. Just give those a minute. They need to percolate just a little bit more. This is my favorite one, so I'm going to leave it on the top. Those need to percolate just a little bit more. If I left this one just as it is, I would be totally fine with that, putting it on. I could put a little postage stamp up there, and that would be fine for a pocket. The problem is there's only one of those, unless I go get 2 more of these kinds of Tim Holtz flowers, which I might do. Let's look at the invoices. What you're going to want is a piece of copy dyed cardstock. This is the offcut from something else, and it's got little bits of paper glued to it. But I'm going to use it for my pocket bases because it is an offcut and it's sitting here. So after I get that off, or at least mostly, let's see, how wide is this? Not wide enough for a pocket. I mean, you could. It's 4.5, but I want a little bit wider of a pocket. So I'm going to go this way. And I'm going to do about I'm going to do a 5-inch pocket. I'm going to do a nice wide pocket because this guy right here is 5. Yeah. Let's do some wide pockets. Let's do some 5-inch pockets. Now I need paper trimmer. So one day when you're bored and you don't know what to make and maybe your creativity is lacking, sit down with your rag paper and just take out rag paper pages or scraps even, and put some texture paste or some stenciled ink or sprays or whatever you want to do through a stencil, and just make the pages. You're not making any ephemera, you're just making the pages. And then you'll have those pages that you can add into any project later. You could, stick them in a journal as a page. You could do whatever you want with them later, but you'll have them to tear up and use. And that way you don't have to if I was to do the stenciling with a texture paste now, this would have to dry for like at least overnight, right? So if you have the pages made ahead of time, you can just tear them up. That's why I have a bucket with a bunch of embossed papers and a bunch of stenciled papers with texture paste and ink that I can just tear up and use. So we're going to try this paper cutter because it's the one I got because I wasn't thinking. So we're going to do that one. I want a 5-inch pocket. I don't know if this is a straight piece of cardstock. A 5-inch pocket, and let's make this pocket, let's make it 3.5 inches deep. So 5 by 3.5. That's my pocket base. We could have glued our invoice and cut it, which is what we should have done, but that would require forethought. Okay, that's good. And 3.5. So I'm going to make 2, and we'll make a 3rd, but I need a piece of cardstock for that one. We used up a little bit of scraps there. That's good. Okay, so I've got 2 pockets on the go. Thank you for the thumbs up. All right, now we're going to put some French invoices on these pockets. Basically, find any French invoice that you like. We're going to glue the French invoice to some cardstock, and voila, we have a pocket. It's still going to need a focal point on it, but we have it, right? We have the base done. It doesn't have to have a focal point. No, it does not have to. But so this will cover, 1 pocket, and we're going to need another one. Which one do I like? I mean, even just this, just the top of that. Glasgow. We could do that one too. I do have all those ones that are pinned, and I think those are a great option. I don't want to jab myself with this rusty pin live on camera, but these guys here have a lot of graphics. Sometimes these rusty pins come out easy, and sometimes they're difficult. Okay, so let's use this guy and grab whatever is right here or right there, whatever side we think we like best. You want the lion and the Society Valentine? We could try that. There's 2 of them. Let's do it. We'll come back to this blue in just a second. If you don't have originals and you don't want to use originals, it's not really a reason to use original. You could certainly run this through a copy machine quick and just use the print of it. You could get it where you have some of the, I could scoot this down and get part of it and then have a little bit left over for a tag or something else. You could, get this part down here of the invoice as well. You just got to take, that's why I cut the thing to the shape of a pocket first, the cardstock, so that I can move it around and see exactly, you know, what part do I want. And whatever's left over, I'm just going to put into I'm going to put it into a masterboard anyway, so it will be fine. Okay. I think I might try getting that on one. Maybe getting that on this one. And then I'm going to get the big part with all the graphics on the other one. Let's see how we like that. Okay. So we're going to glue our cardstock. I had a glue sheet somewhere that we found. Now it has disappeared again. Just any old invoice will work. This is a pocket, so it doesn't matter, you know, if it's copy dyed or whatever for cardstock, it doesn't matter. I just happen to have these copy dyed cardstock offcut piece here, so I'm going to use that one. Fighting with my glue stick. Now from the back side, and we're just going to position it. You can hold it up to the light and kind of look that way too. And if I turn it around and hold it to the light, it will show me what I'm getting. I'm happy with that. So right now we're making a pocket base. We're going to let that dry for just a second and I'll cut it out. And then for this one, we're going to do the same thing. Now, if you don't need pockets, you could certainly do this for tags or journal cards or anything else. I happen to need some pockets, so we're just going to do some here. Still thinking about focal points on those other ones. Not everything has to have a definite focal point, but I think those need one because they have such busy masterboard backgrounds. Okay, now this one I want to get up in this corner. And really, as long as it's relatively straight, I'll be happy. Okay, and then I'm going to cut these out, saving the extra pieces, and we'll put those into a masterboard. And I don't know if you guys could tell, but these ones both had a little bit of aging on them. A little bit of tanning where the extra ephemera was pinned. And so they weren't really good ones to scan. They were good usable ones. So that one I tried to get part of the actual invoice, and I've got all these awesome things. You know, I could put these right onto, like I have a piece of cardstock here that I could put this little bit of invoice on and make a little skinny tag or a charm or something like that. So I'm going to save all the bits of invoice. Here's another bit. That one would actually be better on this. We can make a little skinny tag right there. I think we'll do it because it's sitting here and it's cute and it fits. So why not? Let's just glue that on there. This one had a little bit of paper. I'm going to leave it. Just extra interest on the back of this tag. We'll just stick this extra little skinny tag in the pocket somewhere. Make sure that's at the top. There we go. So now I have an extra bonus little skinny tag. Super cute. And we'll just cut that out. We can cut it into tag shape. We could leave it just like this. You could decorate it, stamp on it, whatever you want to do. I think some gold and gold embossed stamp would look nice on there. So there's that little piece taken care of. And let's cut out this last one. So we ended up with those so far. Okay, let's move on. I don't know why I'm struggling with pockets for this journal. I don't know. My brain is just very tired today. I can't shake the tired since the shingles. I just can't shake it. Being super tired. Okay, so these are the scraps from the other invoice. So I've got basically almost an invoice. And another one that would be great for a pocket. I just don't have the cardstock to put it on. So this one will probably be my third. And then I've got several pieces of little tag, right? So those are good pieces. We'll save those. And then this is my other pocket. And I like that really nice. I think they're great pockets, both of them. If you do it like this, you can put them both in the same journal and they won't look like identical pieces of paper, right? So the other ones, you could put these on one that's like a masterboard. I don't know if you want to put it on that one, but you could put it on a masterboard piece, right? To get some of this graphic on there. Anyway, we'll save those. I'll make another pocket out of this. We'll put those right in there. And these are the two that we have and a little tag. So for these ones, you really could just leave it. You don't have to do too much. I'm going to go ahead and thumb hole punch them in just a second when they get a little more dry. But again, we're going to need focal points for pockets. I can make all the pockets in the world, but I can't decorate them apparently. Yeah. I think we're going to resort to some paper clusters because there's plenty of paper that's laying around that we could just make little paper clusters. I just don't want to cover up too much of these. So that's good. That's a good start. Now, this little guy, I want to do a little hole punch on him and make him a tag. Let's do it up here. Yeah, I'm finding it very difficult for focal points. I'm going to have to get the botanical book, I think. That wasn't quite dry. Going to have to get the botanical book and probably fussy cut some botanicals. But we'll have a quick little tag. If I get my glue to work, we will. Okay. Cute. Very cute. Simple and cute. Back to the same old thing. I'm going to finish this pocket because I like it. I like it just as it is. The little bit of, you guys will kill me if I use it, but a little bit of laundry ribbon, or not laundry ribbon, fabric, whatever this is, measuring tape, that. Yep. That, and this works in place of a postage stamp. Really, this is only, it holds the place of a postage stamp. It's not the end all be all. We don't all have to have it, but eventually I will find where I put mine and I will get it out for you guys. But this could work, just adding a little bit up there, and I really like that. So let's do that. And let's finish this pocket. I don't know that I want to ink this a whole lot. I'm just going to hit it a little bit, and what gets inked, and the rest I cannot care about. This I don't want inked at all. I just want it glued on. Now, this already has texture paste on it, and sometimes glue stick will work, and sometimes you'll have to get, so you can get the texture from the other side. I'm going to try just focusing on the edge to get the glue stick, and then I will put the art glitter glue in the center where the texture really is, because it's hard for glue stick on textured surfaces. So we got glue stick for the edges mostly. And we'll go ahead and add art glitter pretty much everywhere else. and then we'll glue that on. Am I killing you? I know. I'm so sorry. I can't do all the things all the time. I try so hard. And if I just had unlimited time, then I would be good. There is so many things that I could do that you guys would love, and it would be so much fun. And I was thinking about that earlier today. And I was thinking maybe just have a week-long super sale once a month. And then that way, during the month, I can get a lot more other projects done. But the reality is, there's no happy medium to be found. It is what it is, and this is just life. So we're going to put that right there. Now we're going over texture paste, so I am going to have to squish that for a minute with my hand. And we need to get this on, but I wasn't sure if I wanted it under or over, and then I forgot to put these on. So now it will have to go where it goes. So I do have a lot of other projects coming out, and they need me to spend time and finish them up. So I think while I'm not having live sales, I'll be able to accomplish some of that during the move. Yeah, it needed to go right down there, but I think we'll just tear it shorter and it will be fine. Yep, it is fine. Perfect. This glue stick. It needs a little help right now. And I'm going to try to put that there, but I could put it there. I don't know if I want it there or there. I don't want to cover up that music note. Yep, it's going there. Okay. We've done the dance of that. I'm going to wrap it around and tear it off in the back. Perfect. So that's that pocket. It has this old document from Spain over here. This is original tanned music paper, the rag paper with the texture paste, and the Tim Holtz floral. Very simple and sweet, which is exactly the look I want for these pockets. So that'll go on the page as a pocket. We at least completed one piece of ephemera. I think we decorated some other little journal cards earlier, so I won't completely give up on myself yet, but let's see what else we can do with these ones with the invoices. The invoices, like I think a number would be great, right? I think a number would be great. I almost could steal the texture paste and just do the texture paste and a number. I'd tear it off, but you almost could just do that. That's enough decoration because you have so much graphic back there. I think we could do that. I'm going to cut these two into with a thumb notch. I have a hard time seeing pockets to decorate them without the thumb notch. So let's do that. I don't need to ink them, but I do need a thumb notch. Okay. Now let's see if I steal this. We are covering up quite a bit of the graphic. Let's not steal it. I like those over there, so let's leave those. I think this is good. We need a little something else. A little decoration there. Okay, so for this one specifically, I know what I want on it. I planned this. I don't know if you guys are going to like it, but this is what I picked out. So it's what I picked out. You'll love it or you'll hate it, but remember these little clothing garments? If you put them on an invoice, the little clothing garments, what am I going to lose if I tear this one out? I'm just losing lace on the back side, so we're good. So I'm going to take the little clothing garment. Most of your French fashion magazines will have these little clothing garments in them. Little mock-ups, basically, of dresses or shirts. There were some others back here. Let's steal a couple more. Yes, out of that one. So the invoice serves as a perfect backdrop for these little clothing garments, the short little ones like this for pockets. Because if you think about the invoice, you got to pick one where I'm not going to cut into somebody's face. Now you could copy them and you don't have to use originals. And this one I can get, but I got to be very careful at the bottom. So I probably cut into somebody's hat or head, but I'll make it work on the back side. Okay, so I have 3 little dresses. Dress forms, whatever those are. But the invoices make the perfect backdrop for these things, because if you think about, like, maybe this is an invoice, you got a little graphic and a little bit of this. Maybe this is the invoice for this little dress. So I'm going to fussy cut this little dress quick. Now you can be as fussy as you want, and I'm using the giant gluey scissors, or you can be as, you know, loose and just, you know, cut a border around it or whatever. You don't have to cut directly on the line, but I do find that these cut out really easily, the originals, and I think that the newspaper helps. It's not like newspaper that's super fragile or whatever. It has a little bit of a jaggedy edge at the bottom, but I find that these cut out really well. I think the old newspaper is sturdy, but also the perfect weight to easily fussy cut. So there's that, and that's going to go right on there. And I think that's super cute. Okay, so we got one. Now for these other ones, let's see. I think this is a little bit big. Let's use this one for this one. But my point is, the invoice is the perfect backdrop for the little half dresses or coats or shirts. You can envision that the person went shopping and this is their invoice and it's showing a depiction of what they purchased or something like that. And what else are we going to use these little half dresses for? This is a great use for them. Now, I think I prefer the invoice that's a little plainer with these, but whatever, it'll all work. I'm telling you, French fashion magazines, you can use every little bit of them. So there's that one that could go there. That one needs a little more help, I think. Even this little tag, you could have put something long and linear on. But for now, let's find this. Let's find a piece of cardstock and let's put this on as our third pocket. So invoices as backgrounds, then the little half dresses. If you don't have the little half dresses or a French fashion magazine, do you have any type of stamp that you could stamp an image, whatever image, a flower, a butterfly, whatever? A stamped image would also be acceptable. I say acceptable, but a stamped image would also be good over there on that other side of these pockets. You could stamp it on receipt paper. You could stamp it on coffee paper, coffee dyed paper. You could stamp it on whatever you want. This one might go like right there on that blue because I don't really love the blue showing. But a stamped butterfly, a stamped flower, some other kind of black and white bolder image as a focal point. In fact, we might use stamped images on those other ones because they were being difficult. And I do have some stamped images on fabric, and that would be good too. So let me find some cardstock. And I did just find some Braille paper for some clusters, so we could build some clusters also. Look at that. I just found it. So let me find cardstock. There's got to be some cardstock scraps in here somewhere. There's always cardstock scraps in here, but never when you need them. Okay. All right, well, no worry. I have cardstock everywhere, so let me find a piece of cardstock to make this pocket on. There's that one. It's just a piece of ivory cardstock. Smooth ivory cardstock. We're going to glue that to it. We'll cut it down to size and then put that little dress form on. Then I'm going to use that laundry number, but if you don't have the laundry number, the laundry ribbon, what is that stuff called? Measuring ribbon, whatever it is. The German paper measuring ribbon. If you don't have that, which most of you do not, I know, but if you don't have it, also a little Tim Holtz stamped number. So if you take, Tim Holtz has a lot of stamp sets with little numbers in them. Sampool does as well. Many of them will have little number stamps in them. Take a little number stamp and stamp it onto a little piece of, stamp it on craft paper, put it in your paper trimmer. So stamp the little number, put it in the paper trimmer on craft paper, and cut out yourself some little laundry number ribbon. You can fake that very, very easily. Don't have to have the original thing. It's okay. And I'm just going to scoot that as close as I can to the edge. And then we're going to cut that out. Because if you look at this, if you look at it, okay, all it is, if you want to make it like this, all it is two numbers with a little line, a little dash right there. You could put the edge of your stamp in your ink and get that little line, right? If you don't have anything else to make a line with, you could stamp this piece of cardstock packaging in your ink pad and stamp it right there, and it's going to give you a line. But also the edge of your rubber stamp, you know how if you accidentally get it in ink, it will stamp a little line like that. So make yourself a little line, stamp yourself the numbers. Now, if your numbers are 2 or 3 or 4 digits long, that's okay. Even if this number is 5 digits long, that's okay, because you're going to cut it and you could end up with 2 numbers just like this. So you could fake this very simply. It's not really anything special necessarily. It's just, it's already done for you. Whatever. You're just looking for this on craft paper. That's really it. So, okay, moving on. All about faking it, right? So we're going to do a pocket that's 5 inches wide. I'm going to go a little over so I can cut that side as well. We're just going to cut that whole piece of cardstock and put it in my bin so I will have it for later. Now, I did not wait for this to dry, and this paper trimmer is absolutely horrendous whenever things are wet. So there's that. It always, I'm just going to say, makes me mad, because it does. So there's that one. And that goes in my bin. Now we're going to have to clean up this edge when I planned on cleaning up the other one. Yeah, see, it doesn't want to cut it when it is wet with even just a little bit of glue stuff, and it will mess up your whole edge of your pocket. So, yeah. Anyway, there's that. I'm going to put this little dress form right here. Cover up that blue just because, you know, I don't need that. All the other ones, they are more decorative. Yes, for sure that they are. You know, I've got more graphics on both of those, but this is still okay. This is good. Let's go ahead and get the little dress forms glued on. And then let's put some more detail on these guys. So now mine are originals. If yours are not originals, you will not have to be as gingerly as I'm going to be when I'm gluing these. But mine are originals, and so they're 150 years old, literally. And so I just go a little slow, a little careful, getting the glue on there. They don't need inked. They're already old. So there's that one. I will ink this and cut it into a little pocket here in just a second. It needs to dry more. Trust me. How is Tim? Has anybody watched Tim's videos lately? I have not had time. And it makes me sad that I don't get to watch my favorite people anymore. But I love Tim's stuff. We all love Tim's stuff. I don't know if I want it smack dab in the middle, but that's where it went. It's good. That's good. And then this one. This one's my favorite. Little girl dress. I know he does crafting videos still, and you know, if he has a product, he'll do that. I missed his videos recently. Okay. There's that one. So we have 3. This guy needs the most help. Okay, let's go ahead and ink these now. Yes, you can fussy cut your whole magazine when you get it. You sure can. Or you can leave them as they're whole and cut them out one at a time. Sometimes you want a little bit more space around something. So for me, I don't fussy cut them ahead of time for 2 reasons. A, time. I don't have time to fussy cut them ahead of time. And B, sometimes like I might not have wanted to fussy cut these. I might have wanted to leave it with like a square or a rectangle or something like that. So there's that one lightly inked. This one will do a little more heavy. I'm not really inking this. There we go. There's that one, that one. This guy, I hope you are dry enough. Yes, I hope he is loving his life now, getting a little more me time, hopefully. Relaxing, not feeling the pressure. I can only imagine what his life was like. Goodness. I know he talked about it a little bit, but the deadlines and the new products and, you know, just being, you know, a famous person, I'm sure is hard. I mean, he talked about not even being able to go to the craft store at one point. And if you think about it, like, you know, he started this, he loves crafting, all that stuff. Not even being able to go to the craft store must be tough, you know, because he loves it, right? So there's that. All right, so those are inked. I like them inked. Let's put this little laundry ribbon on. And then let's see what else we need to do. I think one of them will end up looking a little more plain. Let's see. We've got 1910. That 1910 can go right there. That's good. And this is fitting for the theme too, because what this little tape actually is for measuring fabric, the amount of yards or meters or whatever on fabric. So this is the other one that's left. I could do it the whole strip across, all the way down. I could tear it. If I tear it and we don't love it, it's okay. It can go on the other one. I think that's fine. It fills in the space, right? It fills in the gap. And if you don't want to do the number ribbon, maybe a little offcut of a decorative paper that you like, maybe like washi tape that you like, something like that. There's those two. This guy has a lot going on. He needs something that's going to ground him. I don't know what that is at the moment, but he has a lot going on. He's busy. Because I used the part where all the graphic was. It's like it could go on either. So like it could go here. That's the left. That's the right. I think it has to go on the left, but it's weird over there. I will admit, it looks like it needs to go on the right, but we're going to put it on the left. So, guys, I really appreciate you hanging out with me. I know that this isn't like groundbreaking crafting. I have to apologize. It's not exactly what I had planned for today, but it's what happened today. So there's that. So far we've made those, and I got to watch the use of the laundry ribbon. I don't want laundry ribbon on everything, but so far we've made those. Those are cute. And I don't think we have to really decorate these pockets any more than this. I think it's enough. You don't want to go overboard. I think it's fine. And remember, they're going to be on a page that's also got pattern and decoration, and also there's going to be a tag or something, journal card in there. So I think those are some really cute little pockets, and a great way to use up these pieces of those French fashion magazines that are sometimes hard to use. So let's put those off to the side. Man, those thumb punches match up perfectly, and each one of them was done separate. That's interesting. My eyeballing is still pretty good, so I'm going to throw those one in every pile. These ones, I need 2 more of these, and I know where they are. I think we're going to get them. Now, these are going in different journals, so who cares, right? I hope they're going to look good on those, but they're going in different journals. These little things. Let me go find those quick. What else can we make? We need to make a different kind of pocket. So let me pause on these. You guys know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this. So let me pause on those and let's find something else. This can just go in here as ephemera. Let's find something else to make. And I know I have this piece of Tim Holtz cardstock right here, and I have these pockets. These are actually scanned French envelopes, and I think I want to make them into pockets. I know that some of them were the wrong size and some of them were the right size, and I want to make sure I'm using the right size ones. Yeah, these are the smaller ones. These are the bigger ones. So I want to cut out these pockets. Now, which one of these 4 do we love? Which one of these 4 do we love for pockets? Maybe this one down here because it's sweet and simple and it's the right colorway. I love all these, don't get me wrong, but they're a lot of color. Maybe we just go with this. So I think we can cut these out, and then we can make something to go in them. We need a couple of page and elements that are a little bit fancier. All of these pockets are great, but they're pretty basic. So I think we need to do like a window envelope. Window envelope that flips out. We need to do a little bit of interactive elements because we really have everything super basic. And I don't want everything to be super simple and basic in here. Don't get me wrong. I you know, it's fun and it's easy makes, but we need something that's a little bit more detailed. So then we're going to do this one. So I'm thinking like a window envelope. I think I brought some CD envelopes in for us to decorate. Some other elements here. These envelopes I did not make the digital for you guys. I am so sorry. I just scanned some envelopes up. At least I don't think I made you guys a digital. I think I just scanned some envelopes. So I've got these 2 that can be pockets, and we'll cut out a third. And I'm pretty sure I saw back here there's the skinnier version of this. I'll do one of these super big ones. We could also use an old envelope. It doesn't have to be a scan, a cardstock scan, but that's what those were. Alrighty. So again, we're going to thumb notch these. Very quick and easy pockets. They don't have to be thumb notched, but I like to. All right. We could have almost made a flower with all the ones we punched out. These need inked. Now, the envelope was a little bit torn, and so it doesn't have a perfect border, but when you ink it, I think it's fine. Gets rid of all sins, right? It makes the border filled in. So there's that one. Maybe do a little more up there. The envelope was a little crinkled, and so, you know, it's not perfectly square anymore because it's an actual old envelope, was my point with it. And I just printed them on white cardstock. So there's those two. And this guy is super turquoise. But envelopes make great pockets, scanned or originals. All right, so we have some more pockets. And I don't really think I have to do too much of anything with them. They're going to just go on the journal. They are turquoise blue, all of them. Just some are darker than others. But anyway, there's those. So now we have plenty of this shape of pocket because I just made 3 sets. So we have plenty of this one, right? Because we have the envelopes, we have these, and we have these. So I just made 3 sets of this shape pocket. We're good. We don't need to do any more of those. I'm just going to put those in their piles. We need a different kind of interactive element, and then I think that'll be enough ephemera for today. What did I bring in for us? I brought in CD envelopes. These we can decorate. Now, you can sew a CD envelope into the signature of your journal so that it flaps around, right, on your paper. You could sew it into the signature, cut off the top, put a tag in there, something like that. These ones, I think maybe we would glue them on the edge of a page and have them flap over and flap like that. So maybe we leave we could cut the top, or we could leave it just open back here and slide a journal card in. We'll see how it works in the journal. But let's go ahead and decorate up 3 of these. I think we already had one in there, but whatever. We'll decorate up 3 more. And then I have some basic coffee dyed tags that just need decorated. So there's those. Let's put these in the ephemera bin. And something that we already have sitting here is the offcuts of those invoices, and that would look really nice on these tags. So we'll probably just make those from the offcuts. Okay. For CD envelopes, these are coffee dyed. I always coffee dye my stuff. That way, all of it, like anything that shows that isn't covered up, is coffee dyed. You could also just journal on the back of it now because it's coffee dyed. So let's go ahead and do a little cluster down here. I've got this Braille paper that's sitting here staring at me now that I had to go hunt for it. So let's start with some Braille paper. Start with some Braille paper. I don't have Braille paper for you guys at the moment. It is still it's in a box in the garage. That one tore horribly. I don't know if we can salvage it. We'll see. let's try a piece from right here. Braille paper is kind of hard to find from, you know, from online sources. I'll have to get, once we move, get that to where we can get to it for you all. Okay. This one's going to need a little help tearing, but eventually it will be good. Braille paper is so thick. Okay. So torn pieces of Braille paper, that's where we're starting. I could go up there with it. Better. Okay. So now I have some offcuts of Braille for more clusters. Those are great. All right. We have lots of turquoise paper. And you know we need to use that. I'm going to try to get 3 strips out of this. It's going to be tough. There's not a lot there. But it is the perfect color. I think this one is one that came from the ledger that was in the prayer card pack we just did. We'll tear it down in just a minute. There's 3 of those. Let's see what else we can put in here. I have some music paper sitting here. We are making some paper scrap clusters. I don't know how much of that I need, but my house is nearly done, and I'm getting very nervous. I don't exactly understand why I am so scared, but I am like terrified. I don't know why. It's weird. It's a weird feeling. I'm looking for the perfect piece. I guess we'll try this one. Okay. So generally I try to do 3 or 5 elements. Right now we have 3, which I think is a really good place to start. And these were all just scraps other than the Braille paper. So we're going to have to try to layer these in a way that we can see bits and pieces of all the elements. Obviously we need to, you know, tear off some edges here, but we can see we're getting there. And maybe we let it hang off the envelope just a little bit. Maybe it doesn't all have to be straight edge down there at the bottom either. So we could do something like that. I don't know if you guys can see it. I keep turning down the lighting, and the lighting is still very bright, which is great for some things, but for crafting, I mean, you can't really see the colors or the texture of the Braille. So we're just going to do a little cluster like that for now, but it is going to need a focal point, I think, right? I mean, there's going to be a card in there that will have a focal point on it. So if we're going to leave it like this, that's 3 elements. If I have to add 5, if I want a focal point, I will layer in a French postage stamp and a little flower. So, or a label and a flower or something like that. So for now, let's get these done, and let's think about adding in, let's get a postage stamp, I think. We also have this paper, and this paper has, you can't really see it, a teal blue graph paper. That looks really lovely with that. We're going to have to do something with this for these journals. What else do we have? We have doily, but I don't really need the doily with the braille. Maybe something darker. So if I'm going to do 5 elements, I would probably want something darker. But you know, this would be a really great background for the card that goes inside of there. I like that color. So I'm going to remember that. Let's go ahead and get those down. I'm going to grab a French postage stamp that's going to match it. How did you just dip it in and pull it back out? Because when you dye coffee, when you coffee dye paper, you just dip it in and pull it back out, and then lay it out to dry. Don't soak it. It's not like avocado dyeing or other dyes where you need to soak it. Coffee dyeing is a very quick process on paper. It does not require soaking. And if you're soaking it, oftentimes that's when it's going to fall apart on you. So I'm looking for the perfect shade of postage stamp here. And within this little bundle, there's some different shades. There's some darker ones that are like green, and then there's some that are teal blue. And I'm not trying to open up the whole entire bundle, but I would like some teal blue stamps out of here. So there, I've got several now. Let's use this one, those 3. See, these ones are darker green. We won't use those. Even though they're the same stamp, they're just older or used more or something. They have nice cancels on them though. Could have used those, but I don't think that. This is just like bits and pieces of junk. All right, bits and pieces of junk. If we add this is a 4th element, meaning we're going to have to add another something. We're going to have to add another flower or something in there. Maybe just a little number or something. So if we go stamp, 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 and then we'll need a little number. I don't want the lady stamps to be upside down. And there's 2 there. Okay, so now we need a number or a label or a flower. I think we're going to put a flower in here. So let's do a number. For numbers, we have those little Tim Holtz number ones somewhere. Usually I keep some right here in this little bin next to me. Looking to see what I have in there. I have some, but I don't think they're the right ones. Like, I have that little number. I'm pretty sure that one came off of, it was cut off of one of those little collage strips. Digging, digging, looking for more. There's a bigger blue number. I don't know if I can make that one work. These were cut off of collage strips. I have some beautiful French labels that I thought about putting on there, but I need to scan them. Remember the round French labels that we had? The round French labels that we just recently sold, and they were in little packs. I think those are coming to you right now. Those are great for these journals because they have that same blue color on them. So here's another little label. It's very similar in color over here. Okay, so those would work. We could do 5 like that. So I can tell you guys the best sweet to coffee that I bought. It's a lot easier than you think. It's much easier than people think. Okay, we're going to collage these things on here. Now here's what I want to do. I want to make the collage and then glue it on. So make the little cluster and then glue it. So we're going to look at Braille paper, little handwritten torn scrap, and I definitely want that on the top. I mean, I could do it backwards. I just don't like I like the way this is torn. I don't love the way this is torn, so I'm just going to alter that. There we go. That's better. Got that little bit. I don't want to lose the bumps, so we're going to do it like that. That's fine. Got to alter the edge over here. There we go. Okay, so 2 elements here. You can see the bumps on the Braille. I can see my handwriting. This is the 3rd element, okay, and it needs to fit in here without covering everything up. So you can poke it out the top. Poke it out the top and bring it over there. That looks pretty good, actually. I liked it over top of the turquoise, so we'll see how I like it now. Then we have this postage stamp. Then we have this little number. So for this one, I would do it something like that. Doesn't have to be that formula, but I like that. So we're going to do it, and I think we're going to glue it together and then put it on there. Okay, let's do it. Braille paper, it's really hard to use glue stick on. Hopefully this needed that much glue, because that's how much it just got. Okay. Art Glitter Glue says no moving. Okay, perfect. So then I've made my little cluster. I'm going to put my little cluster on my little envelope. I'm not worried about, like, you know, hitting every little bit, whatever sticks. I'm going to leave it hang off the bottom a little bit. There's that. Let's get these stamps on there. Don't care if the stamp is completely covered in glue or not. This one's even like folded over on the corner down there. There we go. I'll put that one right there. Okay. And I got my number. My number should have a little inking. Okay. So for 6 years, maybe longer, my Etsy store before I even had a YouTube channel, my Etsy store used to just sell coffee dyed paper. Many of you found me from Gail from Coffee Dyed Paper a long time ago. Yeah, so I'm very well versed with making coffee dyed paper. There's my little cluster for that one. It's not perfect. It's not wonderful. I may put another element, but I can accept it. Why? Because there's going to be something else in there anyway. Let's see if we can do better on the next one. Let's try. I like the music on top, so we're going to stick with the music on top on this one. And whatever we get of Braille is what we get. I think we'll have enough. So let's glue these together. Just tacking them together for now. Where I went wrong last time. Okay, they're tacked together. They're glued on. A little too high. There we go. Better. And now I want a postage stamp over here and a number over there. Okay. Let's see. How many of you guys are making CD envelopes with me? Did we all get sidetracked on side conversation? How many people out there made some ephemera with me today? How many people made CD envelopes? This is rather a big number, but it really needs to connect those right there. That's fine. Okay, last one here. Making CD envelopes, Esther. Okay. I will caution you guys, whenever you're making your ephemera for your journal, make sure that you guys are like, you know, keeping a record of what you do, and make sure that you like, you know, maybe an idea book or something like that. If you have one of those going, it's always a good idea. Like every journal you make, you end up making something different. And it's a good idea to keep a little record. There's still more stamps on there. Keep a little record of what you did, right? Like if you found a favorite pocket, you know, you tried somebody's tutorial, whatever, and you found a new favorite pocket to use, make sure you're keeping a record of that in your idea journal. That way you can go back and reference that later. Usually when we make a new journal, we try a new tutorial, we learn something new, right? Well, you want to make sure that you're keeping track of that somewhere so that you don't forget from journal to journal. I'm just going to glue that kind of right in the middle. I don't think it'll be my best collage work, but you know, it works. CD envelopes, everybody uses CD envelopes, do they not? I'm surely not the first person to use CD envelopes, but they're just a good idea. Different kind of a window envelope, and also you don't have to feel like you have to cover, like, you know, the junk mail envelopes, you feel like you have to cover the whole entire envelope, and that can take forever to piece together your papers. The CD envelope, if you coffee dye it, you're just decorating it and you're good to go. Let's do the stamp first. Now, where do we want the stamp this time? I think we do want it right there. And the number right here. These are just simple, and I make them in threes again because I have 3 different journals to put them in. Okay, so we need something to go in here, but we're going to have to make that later. Or maybe I already have it. I don't know. But good ideas for inside of there. I really liked the darker color dictionary background and then a botanical flower on that. So that's probably what I will do. Just cut yourself a piece of cardstock. I'm going to tell you right now. Cut a piece of cardstock the size of your card that's going to go in here. Make sure that you cut it taller so it sticks out the top of your CD envelope. Put a little tab on the top of that so you can pull it in and out of the pocket, right? Put this dictionary, darker color rag paper dictionary as the background. Put your botanical flower going up it or stamp it or whatever you want to do there. But these are great little makes. You could also just cut up a piece of Tim Holtz cardstock and put it in there. Like, it's the perfect color. You can just cut up Tim Holtz cardstock, make yourself a little journal card and put that in there. But I think I like the dictionary with the botanical flower better, so that's probably what I will do. But there's 3 little CD envelopes, and let me show you the way that these are going to work quick. Most of you will understand, but you know, someone will probably ask me, so I would just show you now. So you have a page in your journal. CD envelope is going to glue, or a paper clip. You could paper clip it right here. You could glue this flap down. You could glue just a little bit of it and make a little tuck right there. But anyway, glue it down if you want to. And then your CD envelope is going to flip open here. Now, I would not even, you know, worry about this little bit right here to try to slide a card in and out. I think it's hard to slide it this way. What I would do is just slice off the top of it and have your card stick out a little taller with the tab on it. So you can pull the card out. Now, the person can journal all over the back of this, or you could decorate it or just put a little stamp if it looks a little too plain. But this is a good place for this. I would probably put this right on this page because that looks nice together, especially once it has a card in it with the decoration. So again, super simple, but it works, right? So there's 3 of those for all 3 journals. We did make quite a few little simple pockets today. So I'll put those in the 3 piles. I will finish these as soon as I go find 2 more of these little elements. Braille paper is one of my favorite things for decorating clusters, whatever. Braille paper adds so much texture. It's just a felty, cottony paper to begin with. So I love using Braille paper and things. Something else I will make probably without you all is I'm going to take these tags and put the invoice scraps on them. So you can see it's a little bigger, but I'm going to put these invoice scraps on these. I've got a couple of them. I will probably make one more. Then I can put like a full-size lady or a flower, something like that. Probably a flower on these. But I will probably make those without you. And again, if you just take your coffee dye, whatever, dunk your tags in, that's that. Then everything's coffee dyed on the back and you never have to worry about putting coffee dyed paper on the back sides of things. So anyway, we should have enough ephemera. We should. There might be a couple more pieces that need to be made next time. I will have to decorate the front covers next time because I will have 2 done when I come on camera, and I will do the 3rd one with you all because I need to figure out the focal point. I'm being fussy with these. I care about these journals, obviously. I'm being fussy with them. We know this lace is going here, but I need to find the perfect French postcard, either a child or a woman or whatever. The French postcard here, layer it up with some old lace. I will get that planned out. I will do 2 of them ahead of time, and then I will do the 3rd one with you next time. So next time, all journals should be finished with you on camera. I have enough ephemera. I will get that put in. We'll decorate the cover. We'll do the fluffing, the finishing, and we'll be done. We're very close. We're very, very close. And for those of you following along, these were made without any digitals. They were made with just, you know, old documents. There is a new book page from Florilegium. And this is I'm not going to say it's a digital because it's not a digital. This is a print of an antique French fashion magazine or French catalog. An antique French catalog that I printed on vellum. It's not a digital for you guys to purchase anywhere. It's something that I made for you guys, but I put that one and this one, and I'm pretty sure that's the only new thing other than Florentine paper in here. So we tried very hard not to use a digital because not every journal needs a digital, right? So anyway, I think they're coming out beautifully. There's a big pocket here. We can put a big tag, which I saw a couple in the ephemera bin. So yes, will be great. These little guys can go anywhere. That's a nice page for everything. But you could even put it on the copy die. I have that. So even without a digital, there's a lot of interest, a lot of paper with decoration. We chose really pretty old papers. Here's that Italian one. Not Italian, Latin one. So this is the Latin, and it's a super thick cardstock. I think that would be great right there. So, and you have the whole other side too. So beautiful. We've got lots of places to put things in here. All right, I'll wrap up. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for a couple hours. I will see you guys on Tuesday, more than likely, for the live sale. Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope that you guys get to craft a little bit. And I'm sorry it was kind of a weird video, but you know, we're working on things. Trying to get better a little bit every day. All right. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for subscribing and watching and hanging out with me. And I'll see you guys again on Tuesday. Bye, guys. Have a good night.